Oh, how you did? No. Every way, everything.
I no fit shake you. Corona for town, you know they read.
Now believe this corona. You know fit touch black man. If you like, gather the whole Niger, come together, make the cough. Nothing.
Which one you want?
Give me V&D.
Aha. I better get small pieces.
How much you want to give him?
Give me 200. Take your change now,
No day town. No worry, that's sure.
My people, this coronavirus, na serious matter. You see this virus, so it no get leg. Now we dey waka kurukere, no waka around make the virus for die. No forget say the betterment of our people. Now for your handy day.
This message is from the Akinfade Foundation in partnership with the National Orientation Agency with support from MacArthur Foundation.
Good day, viewers. You're welcome to NOA River State Dialogue, a weekly sensitization program of the National Orientation Agency, River State. The month of December is a month that is associated with loads and myriads of issues, ranging from security issues and other issues. The month is associated with and characterized with a lot of travels, a lot of activities, and these activities has moved into a situation where people and goods have to change places, and this has resulted into myriads of security issues and other issues like increase in road accidents, increase in crimes and criminalities. So at this point, it becomes expedient for the National Orientation Agency to sensitize the citizen on how to stay safe within the period of the Yuletide. Hence, the topic, Yuletide and neighborhood security. Like it's usual, I'm not alone for this all-important conversation. On my far left, I have our State Director, young AYOTAMUNO, is a regular on the River State Dialogue. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you, viewers.
And on my immediate left, I have Honorable ERNEST ROWLAD-DOUGLAS. He is a consultant, career guidance and counseling, and also a public analyst and a social commentator. Honorable, you're welcome, sir.
Thank you, and good morning, viewers.
And on my immediate right, I have the able Prince AMATARY, Commander DIOBU Vigilante. You're welcome, sir, once again.
Sir, happy to be in the studio, sir.
And my name is Senebo. I am the Community Orientation and Mobilization Officer at HARCOURT Local Government Area. And I am the anchor for today. Viewers at home, please feel free to be part of this conversation as you send in your comments, views, and questions. Today we're going to rather start on a lighter note. I want to ask, have you ever really think why is it that Nigerians will wait until the Yuletide and everybody wants to fix their activities during the Yuletide? Let me start with you. That is more like an open question. It's not a security, or security. Let me start with you. Why would people wait? During the Yuletide, everybody. That is when everybody wants to do marriage. That's when everybody wants to do all kinds of activity. Why is it? Why is this so?
Guys, the year is a period of times. It's a period of seasons. And at the beginning of the year, naturally, with the way things are done concerning seasons, at that point in time, people may have spent some of the resources that are associated with periods like this, especially the Yuletide. Now, at the beginning of the year, you see people trying to accumulate. In fact, the year begins with New Year resolutions, and towards the end of the year, it's a time to actually make sure to take account of what has come in, and also to see expenditures are beginning to peak at that point in time, and people begin to look at the resolutions that they made at the beginning of the year, the ones that are prioritized to take place later in the year, when some accumulation must have been done through business, through career, through one thing or the other, or one professional undertaking or the other. So at that point in time, at least there has been some resources that have been accumulated, and people can actually measure what they have achieved. And so they leave celebrations like that towards the end of the year. When that is why I see from the last quarter of the year, filled with a number of activities.
Before I talk to your thoughts, I guess it's a period to show off in our rural areas, villages, so we are how far we have the struggle has paid off. Honorable, what's your own view? Why this attitude of postponing everything until the Yuletide, and then you see this kind of madness on our road? Everybody wants to enter the road at the same time. We see this easy situation everywhere, commotion, you see road accident increasing, crime and criminality on the rise. Why? What's it?
I will ascribe it partly to being traditional. It has become some kind of culture, and that narrative has run decades. Quite a lot of us, depending on which perspective you look at it, whether from the religious angle or from the political angle or from social or economic angle, you find that the first quarter, second quarter of every year are periods of getting back yourself and putting yourself on the proper perspective. But towards the third and the final year is when you want to review how far you have come and the targets you've set, have you been able to accomplish it? And then some other activities that you couldn't really, overcome. You just find out that, well, that's the period where you're going to get, a larger number of people, because they just feel it's a time to unwind and also a time to network with relations, with friends, and also the neighborhood. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Prince, what's your take on this?
Just like what you have said and other speakers have said, it is an injury time. In the football match where sometimes you don't see footballers who don't even take the ball very seriously, and that injury time, you know that this is a time where if you miss a target, you will know where to be found. So everybody wants to use that, even criminals also want to take advantage of that injury time. And most funny aspect of it, the criminals know the importance of this Yuletide period more than even
the calculate. That is when people have loaded their pockets, yes. The struggle are paid. So this is the time to rob them off. How wonderful it is. Now let me just put this to you. Please, I'll take you on this. What is neighborhood security? What we are discussing, security, and we are narrowing down to neighborhood security. What is neighborhood security, and what is it all about? From experience,
First, no community can drive very well without that environment being a crime-free environment. No sustainable development can come into a community, can come into a state, to a nation, if that community is loaded with criminal activities. And the neighborhood security is me and you. For instance, I am the major agitator, protector, and promoter of community policing because I see the importance of it and I see it working. I took inventory in the environment we live. Some environments don't even have the presence of police. Sometimes even when I drive for HARCOURT around, I see where even if he happens to give an information to a policeman, the policeman cannot trace that environment. It means that me and you, we are supposed to protect, we are supposed to guide, we are supposed to police the neighborhood, because without we, the neighborhood will not be there. And for us to effectively make that environment to be crime-free, that is where the neighborhood security becomes very necessary and very important. Because, for instance, this place is closer to the police, but there are some areas that are not close to the police. So that is where the call for neighborhood policing becomes very necessary. It's unfortunate that we don't even encourage it, but that is the only working tool. Why is it a working tool? Because at that particular time, you see things that are happening. But the police, the security agencies, they are not there to see things happening. So when you see things happen, if those things are contrary or are contradicting, you have to notify the police and give useful information, or you have to also go in before the arrival of the police. So neighborhood policing is me and you taking care of our environment, making our environment to be crime-free.
Okay, in essence, what you're saying is that when it comes to neighborhood security, it is everybody's business. It's everybody's business.
Everybody's business, everybody concerned.
But in a situation where there is this lack of trust, people don't have problem of surveillance, giving information to the police. But there is this issue of, although they said the police are...
Yes, those issues are there, but in as much as security is concerned, if you want to really work on the area of trust, it means that society will still going the way it ought not to go. And that issue of trust, there are some persons you can still trust to give useful information. You cannot trust everybody, but there are still some persons, even in the police, you can still trust to pass your information to. I take myself as a case study. There are some persons I know if I give information at the police level, they will swing into action. So it's for you to know the trusted ones in the system and give those useful information to the trusted ones. Because if you don't do that, it will get to a time where you, as a person, because of trust, you may not want to give information. It will get a time where you, as a person, you may not even come into your house and go back, or come in or go in through.
Okay, let me just take this on you, sir. What has been your experience in the past years? In respect to neighborhood security? You're hearing vigilante as a topic analyst and a social commentator, Oscar activity, vigilante, and a lot of millions of them. These are the very popular ones that we know. What are your experience in the past, years, with respect to this neighborhood security?
Yes, I can say that neighborhood security became quite relevant now because there is this gap in policing our communities. You don't send a policeman who, for example, comes in from Sokoto to be able to adapt to Rivers State or Port Harcourt. It is we, the individuals, that need to have that awareness and then be able to identify amongst ourselves those who have that tendency, to go into criminality. But it's not in isolation, because you know that our value system, all right, has actually created the need for us to have the neighborhood, because the neighborhood is closer to the community, to the people, and they can easily identify. And in support to the efforts of the police, to be able to relate and then checkmate some of these activities, either before they are even, taken off, or during, when they are engaged in such criminal activities, and even after the criminal activities. So it's a very critical aspect of policing, of security, having this neighborhood.
There is a saying that every crime is local in nature. Every crime is local in nature, which means that crimes are better fought within the communities because they know themselves. So, do you have anything to add?
I think it's what you're saying is largely correct, because it's very difficult for somebody from outside to come and commit a crime without somebody from inside conniving with that person. Our native proverb says that it's the household rat that invites the one that is outside to come in. So when they talk about crimes, that most times that the context is local, and that the people that are doing it are also local. I think they are very much correct, and it is the people that are inside that can actually do the fighting. You can't fight the crime without the cooperation of the people that are inside. That's why they say the crime, crime fighting, that is the business of everybody. Just like the chairman of DIOBU, just like he mentioned, that there is no way you can't continue to live in distrust of the police. We must invest some measure of trust in them. Just the way you mentioned too, that there are some people that you can invest that confidence in them and give them information and nobody will hear. And I think that has been the experience, particularly when we have had interactions here within our own community here, at just this environment here. You know, the park police station is there, and we have had meetings as police community relations committee, and even the DPO has told us severally that if you have any information here in doubt, give her the information, and nobody will hear it. So at some point at the top echelon, you find out that information that it will not leak out, and you have somebody to hold if it leaks out.
Exactly, you have somebody to hold if it leaks out. At this point, we are going to join our first reporter, correspondent, who is standing by in Port Harcourt City local government area, Samson Olo, DIPLOMAT of Port Harcourt City local government. Let's join in.
Thank you, Mr. Abie Senibo, for having me once more this morning. My name is Olo Samson, and I'm coming from the office of the National Orientation Agency, River State, and I am the Community Orientation and Mobilization Officer, Port Harcourt City local government. And my report is on, I am reporting live from National in Iboloro, National Street in Iboloro community, still in Port Harcourt City local government. My report is on YULETIDE, then neighborhood security. And then with me here is Mr. Gostime, the Chief CSO of the community. Gostime, Mr. Gostime, you're welcome. Mr. Gostime, now that people are almost moving back to, going to the village, to have, as a result of this festive period, and it is believed that there are also bad boys there too, and that's where they are going to meet. As they are going to meet them, what is your advice to this effect? Thank you.
And it's my pleasure having you, sir. My name is Comrade Gostime Ukena. I am a native of the Oro community in the Harcourt local government. I am the Chief Security Officer of the Oro community, and also the Commander in charge of DIOBU Security Services Limited, known and called VIGILANTE, in charge of my 3 units. Well, security is everybody's business, and I have only 3 advice for them traveling back to their various villages due to the festive period. Number 1, everybody should be security conscious at this time. 2, everybody should not keep late nights, so that there will be no opportunity for people to penetrate them and harm them. Then finally, they should report any suspicious movement around their corner to any nearby security agents for prompt actions to be taken. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gostime, the Chief Security Officer of the community. Thank you for your security advice. And then good to have you. And then over to you, Mr. Abie Senibo, as the NOA dialogue presenter. Thank you.
Thank you, Olo, the Como in charge of Port Harcourt City local government. That's a wonderful report from you here. Just before we join our correspondents in Port Harcourt City local government, I was going to ask this question, but please, this question will be directed to you because you're on the field. You're the one practically interfacing with these crimes and criminality and all of that. Do you expect all of these challenges this year? What is your feelings about this year in terms of this? Because this YULETIDE area, what do you expect? Do you expect more of it or less of it? Probably using DIOBU as a case study for the rest of Port Harcourt and its environment.
First, we are expecting more of the criminals, and we are also prepared to tackle them, knowing fully well that we will definitely use this YULETIDE period as their days of falling back to the wealth of others, which we as a security outfit complementing the security agencies, we are also well prepared to correct such anomalies. The only information we would like to lay, just like what the Chief Security Officer of Wumeneshi just communicated. Most of our communities are not security conscious. Knowing fully well that this season the criminals are preparing in their numbers to see how they make various communities uncomfortable at the expense, at the detriment of the people's wealth. That is when the people should also be security conscious in their environments. Know who is coming and know who is going out. And mostly to car owners in this very period, before you drive out of your car, once you get inside your car, make sure that your 4 doors are locked. It's a very big security information because these criminals are at major strategic points, waiting for car owners as their major targets. When you lock your 4 doors and when you are driving, it will be very difficult for them to distract you. But once your doors are not locked, as soon as somebody, when you are driving, somebody open your door, automatically the person has distracted you, and it will demoralize you as you are confused that picking valuables in your car. And as they are picking valuables in your car, before you even get yourself, they have already taken everything from you. Even as you leave your house, you lock your door. Even as you are coming in, you lock it, you bolt it. Security conscious, because as we are going into the season, every criminal has a target. The target starts from the neighborhood. After the neighborhood, it goes to strategic junctions on the highway, on the major roads, on the streets, on the roads, to see how they make me and you uncomfortable. So we have also mapped out modalities to see how these issues will be tackled. More especially, like what he said, if you are before coming to the house very late in the night, you come very early, so you should be able to know where your problem is coming from. Yesterday I was driving and I saw somebody at that Maitera Park area, a young lady. I told somebody that it is a very big risk for this person to stand at this hour of the night in that particular place, because criminals will take advantage of it. In the first place, what made you to be at that particular time? And any criminal that sees that young lady, they will definitely meet you. If security presence is not there, they will rob you of your valuables. So you leave your house very early, you come very early, and when you are going to places, you know the places you go to. There are some places that are black spots. When you know that those places are black spots, you avoid those areas. There are some places before security agencies will come and rescue you, the deed has been done. So this festive period is a period where everybody should be security conscious and open their eyes to be watchful and give every useful information to see that these anomalies can be corrected.
Despite the fact that the priest here is more like a security expert with experience, long experience as a vigilante, but we all live in neighborhoods. We have eyes, we can see, we see the activities, how they go. Would you say your activity, can you add anything in your activity? Are you expecting more of this thing in your neighborhood?
Yeah, sure, you should expect it because there is hunger in town, there's poverty, and then of course, now we have all kinds of drugs that are becoming a stimulant, that becomes a very ready tool for those that are idle. When you have this level of hunger in town, and then you have this, vibrant population that are looking for things to do, and then you have these available drugs with them, then of course you should anticipate that there's going to be an upsurge in insecurity, especially within our neighborhood in this YULETIDE period. Because people want to come back home and see, relatives, see friends. They want to also come back home and see how they can prepare themselves against 2022 as well. But all it takes is that the awareness will be there. The tips we're getting from the commander, the vigilante, and from the commander. I think you give us tips. Will keep us on our toes to do what we can and leave the rest in the hands of God.
Teresa, do you have anything to add?
Well, let me just say that it's not far from what he's saying. He has raised the issue of poverty. We know there is unemployment. We are also, as part of globalization, people are exposed to new information. There are new gadgets that the older generation were not exposed to. There are also new methods, cultures. There's cross-culture. The issue of drugs that you just mentioned, you will discover that unlike what we used to know in the past, what we used to know in the past was issues like Indian hemp that we are contending with. Today, you have all sorts of drugs. There's one recently we started hearing what do they call it? They said it's ice block. If you translate it, they said it's ice block. So there are new ways, new weapons, technologies. People have access to, you know, Evo multiplies itself faster than what is good. So you see the younger generation, peer group influence and so on. So you see them wanting to, they get rich quick mania that is taking them to issues like Yahoo Plus and so on. You see those things coming to play. And so once there's any attempt to restrict some of these things, the quick outlets, the quick access to money, you now discover that there are, crime automatically heightens.
Crime will heighten, you know, talking about the socioeconomic and everything that, you know, they have mentioned here. At this point, before I will come back to you, Amata, but after this, let's join our reporter, correspondent from Obiako local government, Patient Joseph, who is on standby.
Thank you so much, Mr. Presenter, Mr. Abiye Senibol, for having me on the show. My name is Patience Joseph, and I'm reporting live from a Limbo community in Obiako. Our topic is centered on YULETIDE, neighborhood security. And with me today is Mr. Isaac, a vigilante head in a Limbo pipeline. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
What do you have to say about neighborhood security in this festive period, sir?
Okay, in this festive period, as the security head in the Limbo pipeline area, what we are planning, or what we have on plan is, we have recruited more men, bring more men to the system to make sure that everything is in place. Number one is those of the people that is coming in and those that are leaving their properties behind. We want to make sure that every person that is leaving his property behind will come back and meet his property intact. And those that are coming into, we will have a one-to-one talk with them. We will have a one-to-one talk with them. We will make sure that they will come in, they will not cause any harm, and they will go back to where they came from. The main thing is that we have placed our men in some strategic places in the Limbo and pipeline area to make sure that during the day and during the night, people will come and enjoy themselves during the festive period and go back in peace without any challenge. That's what we have in plan.
Thank you very much, sir. Over to you, Mr. Presenter. Thank you so much.
Patience Joseph, thank you very much. That's a wonderful, concise report from you, Patient Joseph. Thank you very much. Just before we join our correspondents from Obiako local government, I always want to start with you, Prince, because you are the security man here. Now, in any neighborhood that we live, when we talk about neighborhood, we are talking about probably very large estates, streets, community, and all of that. Crime does not just happen. Sometimes there are some early warning signs. There are early warning signs. Criminals go in the afternoon to do some espionages. They spy,
absolutely,
do some espionages and all of that and everything, and you see some strange movement begin to happen. People you don't used to see. You see some, you know, some strange boys, they are strangers and all of that used to happen before you hear some, you know, something like that. So, you know, what are these early warning signs? As a commander that you are, these early warning signs, what are they? And how are the vigilantes taking advantage of these early warning signs to nip, you know, this crime and criminalities on the board?
Yeah, for instance, I take DIOBU as a case study. Why do I take it as a case study? Because before, DIOBU was a no-go area in terms of kidnapping, armed robbery, snatching of gold, cutting of handbags. These were orders of the day. And when we saw the modalities the criminals were using, we also strategized. For instance, the laboratory aspect of DIOBU is a place where electronic shops are there. And when we took inventory of the happenings in that area, we saw that customers will no longer go to that areas to transact their business. If you are going to buy a television or a DVD, you that is the buyer, as you enter the shop, criminal also enter with you, collect your money. You the buyer, they will collect, and the seller, they will collect the money. And if possible, collect what you want to buy and go. These were activities of the day. But when we saw the modalities they were using, we also strategized. As if you go to laboratory electronics, you see our vigilantes are on standby from 7 a.m. till the shops will close. Automatically, we have abated those ugly incidents. They are on standby to see that customers who comes in to buy goods are protected. Even the seller is also protected. and those anomalies are now a thing of the past. People can effectively do their business in that area. Likewise, we also have what we call intelligent units who are disguised. Criminals also disguise themselves, just like what you said. Before a crime will take place, the arrangement has been done. Modalities have taken place to see how they exit route, how they will enter, how they will kidnap, how they will do everything. We have also strategized in a way that our intelligent men who are not on uniform are also on the streets to see how they checkmate the activities. And some of these criminals, they know us by face, by name. So when they see the presence of those persons, they will say, this security outfit is in this area. They will leave that area and they will go to an area that does not have a security coverage. So in essence, what I will say, the necessity of the neighborhood security in this festive period is very important. Some neighborhood don't have this security presence. Some neighborhood don't even have this concern to know the target or the plan of the criminals. So those areas, if you are not security conscious, try and get in touch with the neighborhood security to bring them to your neighborhood to see that in this festive season they will not use you as their Christmas.
If I understand anything you said, mobilizing to flashpoints.
Yes.
This electronic another flashpoint.
Some communities, let me also put it record. Some communities you are having a business worth 10 million. Yeah? And that business you have worth 10 million don't have a security presence. Listen, it means that you'll be vulnerable to the vulnerability of these criminals. When you're having such wealth around you, there is need for you. Somebody come, there is a particular man that sells this phone, this upholstery phones in quantity. He called me yesterday. He said he's traveled. And when he's back, he will want to see me. And that call means that this festive season, those people that sell goods in quantity, criminals will be going as if they want to buy something. They want to know your saving box. They want to know where you keep money. They want to study your area very well. In studying you, you may not even know. Somebody say, how much is this phone? How much is this phone? He's looking at where you are putting money. He's looking at your exit route. If you want to do anything, how they can escape. So that man, his call has given me a signal that he needs security in this period. Everybody needs security in this period. If you don't need security, you need to contact security agencies to see that your environment is protected.
Everybody needs security, particularly when you have business that is up to 10 million and you don't have security. That's you're vulnerable. Exactly. At this point, we will join our third correspondent who is on standby from NOA local government, NOA local government area, the Komodia, Madam Blessing Jobo.
Good morning, Mr. Abiye Senebo, the presenter of NOA Reverse Dialogue. Thank you for having me on NOA Reverse Dialogue. My name is Blessing Jumbo, the Como National Orientation Agency here in NOA. We are live in the office of the National Orientation Agency. With me is Comrade Ezebonwa Obidike, the youth president of Ishodu local Ishodu community. Please, sir.
Good morning, madam.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. On NOA Reverse Dialogue, today we are discussing the issue YULETIDE and neighborhood security. What is your take, sir?
Thank you very much for this question. I think my take or my advice to the youth, this December period, everybody have to be very careful. Like when we do things as if nobody would or want to kill ourselves. Let me e.g. like when we have a lot of activities here that will go on in December, like burial. The way guys, the way youths hang up in vehicles when they are coming from mortuary or when they are in the community, you see driver will be driving at the end of the day, the person is dead. I don't want to lose any vibrant youth again. So other thing I want to advise to, let's be our brothers watch and keeper. Like one incident that happened last time. Two guys from Benin, they came to MOA. They don't even know where they are going to. So when I ask them, where are you going to? They say they are going to somewhere. Where are you going to? Where do you know in NOA? They don't know anywhere. They don't know anywhere. So I have to take them. I said, come and show me where they are going to. They took me to the place they took me to, they don't know the place, so I have to hand over them to police. So at the end of the day, this period is very dangerous. So my advice to the youth, please be safe, don't rush things in life. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. The viewers, you have heard from the experts. Over to you, Mr. Abie Senebo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Blessing Jumbo, our reporter from NOA local government area. That was a very wonderful advice from the young man there. Before we join our NOA local government correspondents, I was going to just round up this where we are. Early science. Early science. Security is everybody's business. It's not for the experts alone. When you see the early science, what did you use with those early science? Who did you contact to give it?
No, but I think you mentioned there are some key issues that the interaction that we have had here the last few minutes. One, he raised the issue of intelligence. He also raised the issue of prevention. Intelligence is key, and instead of curative, is also talking about prevention. One of the correspondents, I think the one in the Limbo pipeline, he raised the issue of having recruited more people because you are dealing with the city, you are dealing with Port Harcourt. The Limbo is part of Port Harcourt, and whether we like it or not, there is continuous migration arising from some of the security issues, some areas that are impacted by serious insecurity. There is an influx towards the city of Port Harcourt, and so the issue of recruiting more hands becomes something that all of us should look at and possibly embrace. We also have other neighborhood securities apart from that of DIOBU. I'm sure DIOBU is connected to others. OSPAC has also come in because when you look at the number of police, neighborhood security, in fact, is within the province of police activity, and now you know that we have just about 400,000 policemen nationwide. Policing this number of people, we are about 200 million, estimated to be about 200 million. So you need the neighborhood security to do more of policing. So we need to get more hands. That's why we are even talking about community police. Community police, we talked about.
Study the nature and analysis of crime. You see that everybody they kill in a certain area, the vital organs is either not there. So you begin to know that this one is ritual for ritual purposes. That takes me to this question. Are there particular type or pattern of crimes during the YULETIDE? Are there particular kind of, maybe each place they go, you see social thing, this place you go, you see. Are there pattern or type of crime in our neighborhoods, in our community?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's obvious. There's no time you tune on to the radio stations or watch television news and you don't hear about these peculiar crimes. It's all about that urge to acquire material things and display either to family or to friends or to relations or even into their neighborhood. So it now, creates this narrative where most of them want to kill, so that they can use those human parts for ritual. Some of them also get into this kidnapping issue, and then some of them also go into assassination. So it's a trend that we can't wish off because our value system has created that kind of platform for it to fester. I mean, I as a father, I see my son of 18 years driving a car, and I don't have the effrontery to question him when I know that, look, probably he just left school and he hasn't gotten a job.
Talking about a value system.
A value system. So it starts from home. And so we have to look for a way to checkmate these trends, because when we parents encourage our children without questioning, some of these source of wealth that they get, it becomes some kind of inspiration to others. either relatives or friends or neighbors within the neighborhood to also want to, of course, this person has done it, so I'm going to do it and I'm going to get away with it. When we start putting our feet down as parents, when we also, the institutions that are being, constitutionally empowered to also ensure that these checks and balances are put in place, we're going to reduce this trend with time, but definitely not within this period where you see a lot of hunger and poverty, and then there's this unhealthy competition, among peer groups and even among, a lot of adults. So,
Derek, I want to take you on this. Even though this is what for some reason, I would love to take you on this. We're in a tech area, a tech age now. We're in the area of tech, the age of tech. How much can we deploy technology? How much can we possibly deploy technology to check crime and criminalities in our neighborhood, particularly in enclosures like estates, in our streets, in our communities? How much can we possibly deploy technology to check crimes and criminality?
Well, I wouldn't say that the deployment of technology for us in these states, I wouldn't say that it's something that is not help. We had the C4I, the C4I, which was one period when technology was seriously deployed, and we also saw the impacts that technology made in terms of reduction of crime around not just the city, but the entire River State. So technology, you can't take away technology from the issue of tackling crime. Even those in the neighborhood watches, the same way that we need, technology today is like, even the iPhones, the Android phones, they are virtually like oxygen. In fact, they are next to oxygen. Once somebody deprives you of your phone, you know the impact. And yes, you become restless. In fact, you become restless. It's as if something major has been taken away from you. So you can't put it away. And that is why we're even encouraging that people should actually begin to. It's not that easy, but as we go on, I'm sure that there should be some smaller or maybe more cost-efficient means of even checking our homes. Today, a lot of people deploy technology. They're in the offices, but they know what is happening in their homes. They know what is happening in their homes. So even around our environment, even our streets, before we even go into technology, what about street lights? These are basic things that we should be able to have around us. We have seen some of our representatives doing solar lights to make sure that our streets are illuminated. They are illuminated. You see things like street lights, and they have helped because there is nobody. Crimes normally happen where it is dark or in isolated places. That is where crimes happen. But when the places are illuminated, I'm sure that if anybody wants to commit crime, people. So all these things, you can't downplay the issue of even those who are doing the neighborhood watch. They need to make sure that their phones are functional, so that they can get to security agencies.
They cannot the issue of technology in this age and time that we have to check crime and criminality. At this point, we were going to join our fourth correspondent standing by in Eleme local government area, the Como of Eleme local government area, Madam Charity Godchild. Please, let's hear from her.
Yes, Eleme local government. I am Mrs. Charity Godchild in Como, Eleme local government. December. Looking at the environment we find ourselves, we realize that kidnapping is the order of the day. A lot of persons go into it to make money. Everybody wants to come out in a very big way. What is it? It's the order of the day. And it's affecting so many lives and property. So many money is going as a result of that. So we encourage people around Eleme vicinity and outside Eleme that they should be conscious and careful when they realize strange persons with strange cars carrying on, or you feel it's going to carry out a mission that you do not understand, but they are not living around you. We encourage those persons within Eleme not to hesitate to call or rush down to the offices of any of the security operatives to alert them about the strange movements they have in their lives. Thank you. over to you, Mr. Abie Senibol.
The local government area. At this point, we are going to take comments from our live streamers and viewers. The phone has been buzzing, a lot of comments here and there. So let's take some comments. I'm sure we'll be itching to hear from us. From Bridget Idemio, say we are all aware that criminals lay ambush for travelers during the festive season. Security agencies and the Federal Road Safety Corps should collaborate to ensure that motorists and all travelers arrive safely at their various destinations. Bridget Idemio, thank you for your thoughts here. Begimo Williams, security agency and more so local vigilante should be proactive at all times. There is whichever way the bad eggs are out and individuals must take responsibility, and the caution of YULETIDE period. Thank you, Begimbo. You're telling we have taken early warning signs to proactiveness. I think we have discussed that issue here. Bridget again, people should also be disciplined in the consumption of food and drinks to avoid driving drunk. That's another thing, driving drunk. The lives of people, we're talking about security. Lives of people are entrusted in your care. So when you drive, don't drink. It's a normal popular saying. From Bridget again, said the festive season also calls for sober reflection on what we can do as leaders and citizens to usher in a new beginning and make life better for all. Thank you, Bridget. From Peter Ikabie, Nigeria has history of an increase in crime rate during the Yuletide. To make matters worse, the hoodlums that usually broke into people's farm, dwelling houses and business places as they and people business places. Hence, they should be surreptitiously monitored, proactively reported to security agency for necessary action. That has been flopped. Security is not everybody's business. If you see something, say something. From Peter Ikabi again, the Nigerian government should strengthen and discourage drug trafficking, proliferation of illegal firearms by arresting, charging, arraign and sentence appropriately for deterrence sake, and crime will reduce to the barest minimum during and after Yuletide season. Let me also take from Boma Amadi. The watchword for this period should be, if you see something, say something, like I just said, because security is everybody's business. Thank you very much, Buma, for your contribution. Blessing Jumbo. People should learn to be sensitive to the happenings in their neighborhood. See something, say something. Yes, there are some people, they work with their eyes closed. They live in an environment, they don't know everybody. They just enter and go out like that. They are not sensitive. Sensitivity is key. If, security must be tied in this Yuletide period. Jermaine Hansen, the rate of drug consumption and trafficking is too high on both male and female. The security and government needs to give out their attention and focus. Yes, there is a correlationship between consumption of drugs and crime. This one is very. I say that I want to, even though the focus is neighborhood security, I want you to just highlight, for the purpose of our youth out there that are listening to this program, how to tackle the correlations of drugs, illicit drugs, and security. More and more are just coming up now. Some we don't even know the name.
Well, there is from everything that has been said, that all these criminalities, there's one common factor, which is the main propellant of all this, and that is the issue of drug consumption, especially illicit drug consumption. And that has driven, because ordinarily most of the people that have perpetrated these crimes on their own, they couldn't have done it, but they did most of it under some form of stimulant, one stimulant or the other, which gives them a wrong courage And once they are caught, you see them singing about it. You see them, in fact, like more than the canary bird that we know. You see them saying all the things that ordinarily they couldn't have said. And at that point, they blame the devil, who is never seen. So I think young people should try as much as possible to stay away from drugs, completely stay away from drugs.
Yeah, people stay away from drugs in order not to destroy. I think from Y-Kana Command, most of these criminal activities can be prevented only if we take careful attention and take some precaution. The problem comes when a citizen does nothing after being informed, and there is a crime risk present within this period. Some prevent crime risks during the period include advanced free fraud, aka 419, armed robbery, ritual killing, car theft, snatching of bags, abduction, the popular one chance, and the farms, produce theft. I guess this is common in where they farm and all of that, these crimes and criminality. That's why we say, are there any pattern or trend of crime? Jenny Ray answered again. He said, the one but only commander leader of DIOBU Vigilante and Romo, the Legia security leader. God bless you for your good works. Thank you for commending our praise here. Irene, security is everybody's responsibility. Let's be security conscious, more especially this time. Road safety and police should do the needful on our roads. Security, this overstretch everybody's business. Please, if you see something, say something. And also, these people involved in shooting knockout should be checked. It brings panic sometimes. I just want to say this. Please, let me take you on this. YULETIDE period, we're talking about security. They are busy, shooting knockout and all this explosive. Sometimes you don't know when robbers are operating and when it is knockout. What do we do about this? And I know sometimes I think the River State government stopped it. Sometimes, but it still goes on. Probably more especially in our neighborhood, particularly the New Year Eve.
Just like what Enabong has said, it really creates panic in our environment, and you know why it is very difficult. It would have been very easy to stop it from those selling it, but the community, both at everybody, has remove their eyes from this very area. They have removed themselves, and sometimes, just like what is said, the criminals take advantage of it. You don't know the difference between some knockout and some firearms. You don't know the difference because the level of knockout that they produce also sound the way firearms are sounding. So if we can take it to the sellers, I think it will go a long way to correct it, because the buyers, if the sellers are not there, they will not buy. So if government can also get a platform, or security agencies will take it upon their responsibility. Like me, anywhere around me, I don't encourage things of that nature. Even for this playing of football or anything that creates nuisance in the environment, I don't encourage it. And if individuals can pay such price, I think it will be an advantage.
Let me also take this. Within this period, from Ernest one of our DD, within this period, we should be security conscious, especially of what happens around where we live, where we go, and cars we enter, and the events we attend. We should also learn to report all suspicious movement to law enforcement officials, agency, where we go, where we attend, when we enter car, when we go out and come in. It has been overflowed. We have discussed all of that here. Then from Abu's Lasso, steps in neighborhood security in YULETIDE. 1, establish a community watch. 2, improving lighting by NEPA. 3, educating residents by use of local gong in the community on security their places. There will be crime free during this YULETIDE period. At this juncture, we want to join one of our correspondents who is on standby, again from Port Harcourt local government, Mr. Samson Olukomo, Port Harcourt City local government.
Thank you, Mr. Abie Senebo, for having me this morning once more again. I remain Mr. Olu Samson, and I am coming from the office of the National Orientation Agency, Rivers State, and the Como, Port Harcourt City local government. I am reporting live from Mbunduku community, and part of Mbunduku community is made up of the Hausa community. And then my report is based on YULETIDE, the YULETIDE, and neighborhood security. And then with me here is Mr. or Chief Ibrahim. Chief Ibrahim, you're welcome. Good to have you. And then, what is your security challenges? You people are getting in this place, having in this place, and what is going to be your advice as people are coming in, or going to their villages for their festive period, Xmas period, or all of that kind of period. Thank you.
My name is Chief Ibrahim SY, the commander of Banga Security Ogunduku community. My advice to people traveling to their villages or coming into River State, mostly Ogunduku community, please don't keep late coming in. We always advise you be a security wise. Security is every man's business. Inform every suspicious movement around you or in neighborhood, anywhere around you. What we want to tell you also, mind where you buy stolen phones. Some are registered SIM cards. They will easily track you and you fall in victim. Some are high killers, some are kidnappers, and the rest. Please be a security conscious. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alhaji Ibrahim, or Chief Ibrahim. Good to have you. And then over to you, Mr. Abie Senebo, as the NOA dialogue presenter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samson Olukomo, Port Harcourt City local government there. Thank you for your wonderful report. I will just quickly going to round up the comments here. Well, I'm still taking the comments. Liberi Ifoma is more high rate of poverty, hardship and hunger, even lack of contentment easily anyone inside Luka. Are we going to take excuse for lack of hunger, poverty, for security, for criminality and crime? I wonder if we're going to. I know they are raising they say
it's overflow, but I also know that government is doing everything that they can to make sure that the issue of poverty, that there's poverty and alleviation, by reaching out to vulnerable groups, with one national social investment program or the other. You have the JIP, you have the Empower, you have so many of them trying to reach out to the vulnerable people.
I heard from Madam Abihat here. Our law enforcement agency should abide by the swear to secure lives and property and be responsible with intelligent security information that are given to them, so as not to endanger the lives of the informants. Neighborhood should be a security watch on each other and report suspicious behavior or persons to the appropriate office or agency. Yes, we've talked about that. I'm afraid because of time, we're rounding off. Quickly, Prince. By way of rounding up, vigilante is very good. You're a wonderful person here, and you have people working all over, wonderful people. But there is this issue that vigilante people always at the end of the day turn monsters, turn against people who they are supposed to secure, and begin to distort them. Sometimes even rob them and all of that. Quickly, just respond as we are rounding up.
Okay, those issues of misconduct. If the organogram is not well constituted, issues of misconduct will always come in, and it all depends on the apex, the leader. When the leader does not monitor the conduct of his men, abuse is inevitable. And for you to correct it, the leader must be effective in his discharge.
Just brief. Then when you finish, just give our viewers some few security tips.
Okay, security tips.
To guide them for this year.
Yes, for those that are not car owners, before you enter a vehicle, have a mental picture of that vehicle. Look that vehicle very well because something happened. Now, these persons that take people to the forest, they use this minibus particularly. This minibus that is operating mostly under George Ikwere Road.
Please pay attention to.
Before you enter that vehicle, be watchful. My wife has been a victim, but because she has this security experience, she was able to escape it. She entered the vehicle at the Maitere Park, and away going. Before she knew what was happening, she was dozing. And she knew that she has entered. So he said, "Driver, stop, stop, stop." And before she said, "Driver," unknown to her that the two persons at the back with her were also part of them. So one of the women that was sitting at the back was holding her down. So you have to give her a and jump down from the car, and that's its location. Currently, they use this minibus. So everybody should be observant. Before you enter a vehicle, before you enter a taxi, study the taxi very well, look at the faces very well, and the Holy Spirit will definitely speak to you that this is not a lie. And in that, you'll be able to escape it. For people that don't have their private car, if you have a private car, make sure your four doors are locked and always be security conscious even when you are driving. Very, very important.
Director, a parting word for our viewers.
Well, the parting word, just like you mentioned, most times we are too relaxed. Sometimes you enter a bus and you are dispossessed of one thing or the other. Somebody steals anything from you, or you even forgot something inside that bus. You can't even describe what the driver was putting on. You can't even describe the nature of the vehicle. We don't even know the color. So sometimes we should also be very, very security conscious. And just to add, the common crimes that are associated with this period. For they know people are traveling, so issues of breaking and entering, and issues because of gatherings, picnic, and so on. Issues of stealing of handsets, and then on the seaway, we're always talking about the highway, but on the seaway, you have issues of piracy and so on. And even for the drivers and the boat drivers, they are also part of it because they need to make money during this period. They overload their vehicles, they overload their boats, and in the process, sometimes people get drowned or accidents are caused. And most times, some of them are under substance. And so we need to reach out to some of these people to provide enlightenment for them, the drivers and boat drivers. Because here we are amphibious. And you know that.
Honorable sir, the quick one for the viewers.
Yeah, for me, wherever you live, try to know your neighbors. Know what they do. That way it will help you, proactively to avoid whatever criminal activities that are going to take place within your neighborhood. Know your neighborhood, and then also try to identify the call lines to the vigilantes and to the police, so that when you have emergencies like that, you can reach out to them.
Very, very important. Have the call lines. In any division, there the police DPO, the security, please consciously walk down there, get their numbers. Emergency line to contact when there is an emergency, like phone lines to contact. Viewers, this is where we wrap it up for today. For want of time, we would have still continued, but for want of time, we need to wrap it up here. I want to use this opportunity to thank everybody that participated today. State Director, thank you for your contribution. Honorable Douglas, thank you for your contribution, sir. Our regular Prince, whenever we call you, you're a sure person to come, and we thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for lighting us your, humble presence.
Thank you, sir.
Viewers, we are rounding it up now, but I just want to leave you with this advice. Please, this is the Yuletide period. Security is everybody's business. If you see something, say something. Know your neighbors. Interact with them. Look out for unusual things in your neighborhood. When you see unusual things, alert the police. It's very, very necessary. You might save your own self. Most times you think yourself, you might save your own self. And I want to say that the COVID-19 is still very much around with us. Please, Omicron variant, about 3 persons have been confirmed in Rivers in Nigeria. So please, if you must go out, that is if you must go out at all, wear your face mask and make sure that you adhere to this non-pharmaceutical method prevention that has been given to us. Wear your face mask, wash your hands frequently with soap under running water for 20 seconds, maintain social distances. Viewers, this is where we wrap it up. My name is Abiye Senimo, your anchor man. Show somebody love today. Shalom.
You are Nigeria, and Nigeria is you.
What must we do?
We must understand, promote, and preserve those values that ensure harmony and respect for one another. You are Nigeria, and Nigeria is you. This message is brought to you by the National Orientation